In the vast skies of opportunity, pilots chart courses with precision, guided by instruments, training, and instinct. But beyond the horizon of the aeronautical lies another challenge, the intricate tapestry of finance. For every pilot, the journey doesn't end upon landing. It's about securing the future, understanding the nuances of investments, and crafting a legacy. Where do you turn when the charts and maps of finance seem as intricate as the schematics of an aircraft? Welcome to the Pilot's Advisor with Ryan Fleming, a first officer with FedEx on the 777 at the helm. On this show, we'll delve deep into tailored financial strategies, insights, and wisdom crafted exclusively for those who rule the skies. We'll help you navigate your financial flight plan with the same mastery you exhibit in the cockpit. Prepare for takeoff into a journey of financial clarity and empowerment. The Pilot's Advisor starts now.
Welcome to another edition of the Pilot's Advisor podcast. We have a very, very special show today. Today, we have a cast member from the Sons of Anarchy with us. He's going to talk about the show and the background behind it. Steve Sharp, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
And I joke and I kid. I talk about him being a cast member of Sons of Anarchy, or that he has a Harley just by his look. Many of you guys probably know this guy. If you see anything that the Pilot's Advisor does, this is the guy behind the scenes, Steve Sharp from Sharp Digital Marketing. And as you can tell from his setup, he's way more advanced than I am.
Well, yeah, I recently, I spend so much time in this office, so, I might as well enjoy it, right? So recently we kind of redid the office and pretty happy with how it turned out.
It's awesome. And I realize if you look behind me, I need to up my podcast game. That's one of the things we're looking to do is rather than just having recorded podcasts, have video podcasting like this. And I need to up my game and have a better environment for all of you guys. But we wanted to bring Steve to the forefront here and show what it's supposed to look like, what a professional looks like. So anyway, Steve, thanks for doing the podcast with us.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, we do so much together, and, we've been working together for a couple of years now. And more than that, though, consider you a great friend and your whole family. So I just appreciate you having me on. And, today I kind of wanted to talk about what we recently did for Coaches for Charity. It was such a awesome event, and I think we did some amazing things, and I think we should share it.
Well, I think when you say we, you mean you. So for those of you guys for those of you guys that don't know, so Coaches for Charity, the South Carolina Coaches for Charity, Carrie and I recently have moved back to South Carolina for hopefully our final spot in life with my retirement from the Air Force, and she's retiring finally. And one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to get involved in the community, and no better way than my old coach, Coach Fisher DeBerry. He has his foundation, and they do this charity event. So I called up Coach and I let him know. I said, Coach, I want to be a presenting sponsor for this. I want the Pilot's Advisor to be involved. And that's my plan going forward, because I was never really able to dig in and give back while I was traveling around the world. And Carrie was getting PCS to different locations, and it just wasn't in the cards. And so once I decided to do that, I reached out to Steve and I said, Steve, here's what I want to do. I want your help, but I want to take it to the next level. I want it to be bigger and better than they've ever done it. And then, of course, Steve, with Coach's Foundation, you found a little bit that meant a lot to you as well. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and honestly, man, it wouldn't have mattered what it was. When you asked me to help, I help. And but then as I started to dig in to what the charity does, and for those of you that don't know, Coaches for Charity and the Fisher DeBerry Foundation, they help single parents with athletic costs for their kids to participate. And that could be equipment, that could be attending various athletic camps, football camps, stuff like that. Me personally, I was raised by my by a single parent. Unfortunately, my dad kind of took off when I was 5, and never really saw him again. And so it meant a lot. I mean, it definitely hit home for me. And it was really awesome to hear so much about your time at the academy and your experiences with Coach. And like by the time the event came around, I kind of felt like I knew Coach, and I've never personally met him. So
I wish we could get you to pull up the design you did with the turtle on the fence post. That'd be something.
Maybe we'll show it in post or something.
Yeah, for sure. And no, Coach is amazing, and how he touches people. And a lot of those camps are for like Fellowship of Christian Athlete weekend camps or week-long camps that single parents maybe couldn't afford for those athletes to go to. Right. And I feel like I'm a product of what sports can do for you, because it's not about the game. It's about the life lessons that you learn, and learning to be a part of a team, learning to be a teammate, being a part of something bigger than yourself. Right. Sacrificing, or what I think is one of the most valuable ones is getting knocked down in life. Are you going to get back up? Or are you going to sit there and whine and go do something else? And life's tough. And I think sports really teach you that failure is okay. It's about the persistence that the power you gain from never giving up.
Right.
And I'd attest that to Steve. You have a very, very successful digital marketing business because you're constantly getting better. You're challenging each other or challenging yourself. And I think that's how we've really gotten close, is just by pushing each other a little bit. And we definitely bring different things to the table, but I think it's really been kind of cool to get to know you and become, like I said, like Steve brought up. I mean, we talk all the time and have become really, really good friends.
Absolutely. And it's to go back to kind of the importance of just the sports background and whatnot. I mean, over the last several weeks, I've seen a fire in you that's kind of new to me. Right. And I think it's just because you were kind of dumped back into the world, right? That team world, that football world, getting to rub elbows with some of those big names in the South Carolina football world. I think it's pretty awesome to see that fire in you. To get back to, I think you called it your tribe. That's pretty important, man. I mean, and everybody's got to have some kind of tribe, right? Like whether it's your coworkers, it's, friends you grew up with, it's whatever. And it's important to stay connected to that tribe and let it do its thing for you. So,
well, and I can definitely agree with that. I mean, I feel like at the Air Force Academy, the football team, I mean, being a part of that was amazing. And I didn't really find that in the Air Force until I was flying airplanes. Once I was flying airplanes again, I was like, oh, okay, now I'm back on that team. And, you're going down range and you're fighting the war and doing things for the troops and hanging out afterwards. I mean, I've always been a work hard, play hard type guy. And I love FedEx too. I love the people I fly with there. But it's a little bit different camaraderie than some of the things I've done in the past. And any advisor out there would be the first one to tell you that this is a very tough, very lonely business. You can't control the market. You can only control, clients' exposure to the market. And a lot of it is talking them through behavioral issues so they don't hurt themselves.
Right.
But it's a very, very lonely business. And, I think you've helped out a lot with that. But what Steve's talking about is after the South Carolina charity event, I got to see all my old coaches, and a lot of them came in town, and we'll talk more about it. It was in Charleston. It was an awesome event. But since then, I live 10 minutes from Clemson University. And you could see by my face, I was out at practice yesterday and I got fried. I need to take my hat next time, which I forgot to yesterday. But I've been lucky enough to hang out with Clemson's football team, to get to spend time with Dabo Sweeney and get to spend time with his brother Tracy and hear them give these messages to these young players. And oh my God, like I forgot how much I loved it and just loved being around it. I mean, I was more fired up than half the guys in the room. He's calling me out.
I could tell. Yeah, I could tell when you were telling me, sending me pics and telling me about week, that you were spending with the team, and luckily you've kind of grown relationships there too, and stuff. But man, that's what I'm saying. Like I haven't seen that fire in you before. It's a different kind of fire, right? Like you're always excited and what I call intense, right? But you were like, it's a different type of fired up. And what I liked about that was it just kind of invigorated you, you know what I mean? And it's contrast in life, right? Like everybody needs that contrast between work, play, family, whatever. You have to have that balance. And it was just so awesome to see your eyes light up and how excited you were when you were telling me about, some of the stuff you experienced and
well, no, it was definitely powerful. And I agree with you. I think it was a different level of passion. I mean, I love college football for sure. And I love just the energy, and, we're about to be, it's September. It's about to be September.
It's football season. Yeah. It's coming up, man.
It's going to be here, and there's going to be stadiums at 80,000 plus, and it's going to be wild and crazy. And look at me. I'm sitting here. I'm wearing a Clemson shirt right now. I got a Clemson football family bracelet, but that's just because I'm excited to be a part of something bigger than myself right here down the road. And if I can mentor and help out some of these young kids, I mean, it's exciting. And no, it's been pretty awesome. It has. And Steve challenged me to do a better job of telling you guys a little bit more about my life, because the more you know about my life and the things that make me run and that I get excited about, the better advisor I can be for you. And so I'm going to try to do that. I hate, why don't you tell them how much I hate being on camera?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, guys, I mean, you do have to understand that when he does put these videos out and stuff, he is putting them out there. He's not a big fan of it, to say the least. But he pushes through anyways, and he's done a great job. And I know you guys want to see him and want to hear what's going on in the markets, what's going on in the airline industry, stuff like that, his insights, things like that. So I am, just so you know, I'm pushing him, and we're going to get a lot more out there. So bear with us for sure.
Well, I didn't mind it so much when I was in my 20s, but now, like, I'll get on an elevator that has like a mirror in it, and I'll look around going, who's that fat bald guy? And then realize it's me, right. Like where you see the big old bald spot in the back, and you see this guy, like the side profile maybe, and you're like, oh my God.
Right.
Like,
I know. Well, and I get it too, man. I mean, you see me walking on the street, and you probably don't, think I'm a successful business owner with a team of, 8 employees and all this good stuff. But, I
probably turn the other way.
Right. You're probably thinking I'm walking out of the Virginia woods, like hunting squirrel or something. So,
or eating that squirrel for sure.
Right. Exactly. Well, for sure. Absolutely.
So my daughter had we travel a lot for soccer, and she's had a couple events where Steve is in Iowa and Des Moines. And so we got to go meet Steve in person a couple times. And it was so funny because I think the first time Steve came around the corner and my daughter actually got to meet him. She was like, oh my God. And it was funny because I've never seen somebody have such a way with just talking to my kids, where my kids think you're the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Well, they're good kids, man. They're good kids. And honestly, people, in my opinion, people don't talk to kids like they're people, right? Like they talk to them like they're kids. And I think if you just, have a conversation with them as a peer, in a sense, it helps. And both your kids are awesome. Race is great, as well. And we've spent some time with him, and you can't see it, but I'm a big Star Wars fan. So I'll bust out my Mandalorian helmet and some of that stuff. Yeah, you have evidence.
I do.
For sure. But no, your whole family's great. And I can't wait to meet Carrie in person. I mean, we've done some video and stuff like that, but eventually we'll make that happen. So
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of my friends call her the general. She's a full bird colonel in the Air Force, but she's finally about to call it quits. But yeah, a lot of the guys I fly with at FedEx, they just call her the general. So,
Yeah, and it's funny because when we do communicate, she's just, you can tell she's she's military, she's conditioned, she's very formal, and I love to give her a little grief about that every now and then. So
yeah, what, sir? Yes, but
yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
and she takes control, though. I mean, if you've ever been in a meeting with her, she takes control. So it's kind of funny.
Attention aviators, when you've spent years in the cockpit managing the complexities of flight, isn't it time you navigated your retirement with the same precision? Introducing retirepilots.com. Right at your touchdown zone on our homepage, there's a beacon flashing Get My Free Toolkit. Click and you'll be cleared for a direct route to the Pilot's Advisor Retirement Toolkit, which is tailor-made for pilots like you. Inside, you'll find 2 important books, The Pilot's Advisor and Pilots Retire Early. Decipher the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, and discover the 7 lessons to help pilots land safely in retirement. But that's not all. This free toolkit is packed with altitude-high value, including extras to get your retirement plans off the runway. When you order this free toolkit, you'll receive crucial tax planning information. You'll also discover ways to light the afterburners on your 401k. And you'll even earn a free portfolio analysis. So, captains and first officers, don't let turbulence disrupt your golden years. Start your descent to a clear, comfortable retirement. Vector on over to retirepilots.com to grab your free Pilot's Advisor Retirement Toolkit. And let's embark on this journey together. retirepilots.com.
But no, back to the South Carolina Coaches for Charity event. I know we got sidetracked there, but Steve took it on to redesign their whole website, to help modernize how we were doing things. Another opportunity was they decided to move it from Greenville to Charleston. Okay, so it was in Charleston, which for me was amazing because then I tapped into the whole Air Force community there and all those amazing mentors that I had that helped, teach me how to fly the C-17.
Right.
And I was flying in the reserves out of there for over 20 years. And all those people came to the event. I mean, it was awesome. And what it turned into was the biggest event they've ever had. And I don't think we're going to stop there. I think it's going to get better and better every year. And I'm just so happy that you've done what you've done. Because, I mean, you guys don't realize it, but Steve does things that's just absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't know half the stuff that he does and or knows how to do. I just put a vision of something that I want to do, and he somehow makes it happen. I mean, I've been blown away too many times now.
I'm a implementer, and you have an idea, and we will make it reality. And we did with this. I mean, like you said, it was their biggest event ever, and I think it was by leaps and bounds. And honestly, I'd like to say, to your clients and stuff, thank you, because there was a lot of you that anteed up and helped the charity and got engaged as well. And we can't thank you enough. It's such an amazing charity, ran by some amazing people and doing some amazing things. So thank you to all of your clients that helped as well.
No, absolutely. That goes without saying. And I think it's a lot easier to be passionate about a charity when you know how it's going to affect those in the community, and it's going to affect children and maybe change some lives. I mean, because I truly think it's about finding and helping the youth when they're young and letting them have that experience or that vision that, hey, I can be whatever I want to be with hard work. Like nobody else can affect my life except me. And if I don't quit, and if I keep working hard, I can do anything.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think I remember one of the stats when, working on this and stuff. And I think it was like 1 out of 3 kids today are raised by a single parent. So there's a lot of kids out there that, for whatever reason, not of their own doing, they're in some difficult, situations. And anytime you can help them have some normality, right? And take advantage of that, what sports brings, right? That team mindset and hard work and physical, I mean, it's there's so many benefits. So
Absolutely. And I don't even think that was the number. I'll have to dig it up because it wasn't 1 out of 3. It was higher than that. And the trend was that it was getting higher. Like the trend's not going in the right direction. It's
right.
more and more people are having children, not getting married and not living together and not having that positive mother and father influence, which, is unfortunate. I mean, I'm from a broken home. My parents got divorced when I was 12. And I even talked to my kids about that. I was like, hey, when I was your age, here's what I was dealing with. Like, and just to let them know that they're lucky, but to take care of each other. Because I try to make Race know, or actually it's more letting Jada know that her best friend is her brother and he's going to be there forever. So maybe you should treat him a little bit better.
Right.
And without friends and family, it's pretty hard to navigate this life we go through.
Right. Well, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier too, but I think that's what I love so much about what I've learned about the pilot community is, I mean, I've heard so many stories, not just from you, but I've got a couple other clients that are pilots too, and just stories about other pilots in need and things they've done. I mean, talk a little bit about Mike, who you were able to honor. It was Mike, right? That
it was. Honor? No, for sure. Yeah. Well, we take care of our own for sure. And we try to, in that community, it's pretty tight. And I think what Steve's referring to is every year, one of the coaches, whether it's Dabo Sweeney, whether it's the South Carolina head coach, I mean, whoever it might be, they pick somebody in their community as a community MVP that's given back. And Coach DeBerry coached at the Air Force Academy for many, many years. And we came up with the idea that, hey, there's so many of my Air Force mentors that were going to be there, people that have taken care of me. And, of course, I'm sure Coach felt a lot better when he finally saw me graduate, like got that one out of here. But all he did was pass me on to, the guys in Charleston, and they had an even bigger feat then to, keep me in the Air Force and out of jail for, for 20 some years. And so anyway, one of those people that I had to pick one, right? And this is a guy that has been amazing around the Charleston community and the Air Force reserve units there for years and years and years. And he also helped me get on at FedEx, and that was Mike Spear. Yeah. And so we honored Mike at that event. He's around a lot of his peers. And honestly, what we did was embarrass him, like he was so, because anybody that deserves that award thinks somebody else should be getting it and not them. And that tells you right there that it was the right person. And, of course, he's embarrassed and, didn't want to get up on stage, and we made him do all that. And it was great. Everything about it was fantastic. And I'm lucky enough to be around him, even in the community where we moved to, because we live just down the street from each other. And he's one of those people, the way he treats people, the way he opens doors and talks to everyone and writes handwritten notes. I mean, he's one of those guys that I want to be like, that I want to be better. And in many ways, he reminds me of Coach DeBerry, where he sits down at night and writes handwritten notes to people like individuals used to do, that are so powerful and I don't want to say emotional, but they're just more personal. Yeah. It's that more personal.
It's something you would never, you rarely throw away a handwritten note to you. You know what I mean? It's something that,
well, that depends on what it says, Steve.
Right. That's true. That's true. A nice handwritten note you're going to tend to hang on to. And, I mean, I'll get that from clients from time to time, and I hang on to every single one of them. And, it's kind of neat to every now and then kind of go back through those and reread them and that sort of thing. But anyways, I mean, yeah, I think it was just so amazing what you were able to do for Mike, and everything you've told me about him and the guys he's helped, fellow pilots and airline pilots and servicemen and, alike. But he definitely deserved it. And that was pretty awesome that you were able to do it. And I know one of your other goals was to bring a little tear to Coach's eye. And I think you accomplished that as well.
Yeah, for sure. It was a powerful night. I wish we had more former players there, because what I really wanted was Coach to turn around and see like half the teams he's ever coached, but we didn't get that many players there. Like, we did have former players, but I know we're going to do better. I know that the event was so powerful that I know next year there's going to be more and more, and it's going to, what we want to do is just take this and run with it. And I know I couldn't do any of the things we did without your help, Steve. You're instrumental. And I appreciate you being on the podcast today.
Yeah.
As always, I try to keep it under 30 minutes because I know everybody's busy and I want you guys to still listen. So this was a little bit different, but like I said, we had a cast member from Sons of Anarchy here today, and he's going to show us his motorcycle next time.
Right.
So we're going to talk about his Harley.
Right.
But
next time you're in Iowa, I'll take you for a little ride.
Yeah. So Steve Sharp Digital Marketing, one of the most amazing businesses that you can partner with in this industry. And Steve, thanks for everything you've done. Thanks for your friendship. Thank you for taking this South Carolina charity event and running with it and making it better and providing us with tools that we never thought we could even get to help change kids' lives.
Well, I thank you for involving me, and thank you for just, for your friendship and onward and upward. So
what's that Japanese phrase?
Kaizen.
And what does that mean?
Continuously getting better or improving. And that's our mantra, man. You and me, that's our mantra, is we're never rest, right? Never be satisfied. Just keep doing better. Steve, have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time. We're going to definitely have to have you on the podcast again. It was my pleasure, Ryan. All right. Take care. You too.